If you've ever felt completely overwhelmed by portrait photography, or just at a loss of what to focus on to take you to that next level, then come hang with me. I help guide portrait photographers just like you to stay clear and sharp in camera and with your goals. I'm your host, photographer, educator, and weirdly positive mom of four, Emily Supio. And this is the Stay Focused podcast. Photography advice to help you stay focused. Hey everyone, it's Emily Supio, and thank you so much for pressing play on today's episode of the Stay Focused podcast. I can't believe that it is already season 3 of the podcast. I can't believe well over 100 episodes, over 100,000 downloads of the Stay Focused podcast. So I so appreciate all of you that keep tuning in and listening. And now this season, I'm going to be incorporating some video too. So if you're curious to see a little bit of the behind the scenes, it's not always super exciting, but the Stay Focused podcast will now also be on YouTube. So if you're curious to see what I look like or what fancy stuff is going on behind the scenes, or sometimes we talk about some of the things our guests on the show are doing or creating, and you'll be able to see that on the show too. So if you haven't seen the Stay Focused podcast on YouTube yet, you can go check that out. I would like that. I would also love, since I'm asking you to do things, if you have not subscribed to the Stay Focused podcast on iTunes yet, if you would take a second to do that, it seriously takes 1 second to push the subscribe button. And then if you've got a couple more seconds and you would leave a quick rating and review for the show on iTunes, it would really mean a lot to me. It helps more new moms, new photographers, parents, grandmas who want to take better pictures, learn more about photography. Now, I'm super excited about today's episode. I actually have a guest on the show who was one of my students inside the Shoot It Sensational program. She is so amazingly unique. She's going to share about her wonderful uniqueness with you in just a second. But more than that, she's going to get really real and break down some of the mistakes that she made in the beginning, with the hopes that it will help you so that you have an easier time in the beginning of your photography journey. If you are a mom who wants to start taking gorgeous pictures of your kids without feeling so confused and frustrated by your camera, then I invite you to join me in my free masterclass, The 4-Step Framework to Confidently Shooting Beautiful Portraits. You can register for that by going to cozyclicks.com/framework, or just clicking the direct link in the show notes from whatever podcast player you are listening from right now. Now, this free masterclass will not be available all the time, so if you're catching this episode a few weeks or months out, it might not be there to register when you click the link. But don't worry, I'm always creating new things for you so that you can feel more confident with your camera. Just be on the lookout for them. All right, let me just push a couple buttons here and we will bring on Courtney to the show. All right, you guys, I have one of my past students on the show today. She is a really phenomenal photographer. She is a really cool mom in person. So welcome to the show, Courtney Kemp. Courtney, how are you today?
Good. Thank you for having me on your show.
You are so welcome. I'm so excited to have you. And Courtney, I kind of introduced you as being kind of a cool and unique mom. Can you tell us what makes you such a cool and unique mom?
Well, my kids might not think that I'm a cool mom right to the point, but I have 5 kids under the age of 12, so I am very busy. But I love photography. It's so fun to go out on family outings and just capture things and my kids interacting with nature and other kids and stuff like that. But what makes me kind of unique is I love skydiving. I've been 5 times and I just went the other day and I would go again tomorrow. And I am adventurous and I love paddleboarding and I'm super outgoing and very energetic.
I love that. I knew you were going to say that about skydiving too. I actually saw your picture up on Facebook the other day. I don't know if I've told you guys this or not before, but I've actually been skydiving before too, not 5 times, but when I was like, I think I might've been like 22 years old when I first moved to San Diego, I did go 1 time. So again, Courtney, you've got me beat with kids and with number of times skydiving, but maybe one day me and you can jump out of planes together or get all the kids together and do a big outing. But, Courtney, you are a very unique person. I think that you have a lot to offer to the new photographers that are out there listening, and a lot of the moms that are out there too, because a lot of times I hear from moms that, they're just so overwhelmed. They don't have enough time. They want to learn photography, but they can't do it. And here you are, you've got 5 kids under 12. You are out there skydiving and paddleboarding and doing all these things. And you are taking pictures too and learning how to do it. So that's pretty cool. So I kind of want to rewind back because it didn't all happen for you at once. You've been doing this for a little while. Like, how long ago did you start your photography journey?
So way back in 2011 is kind of when I got like my first camera. I just have the Nikon, and I think I got like the D3100. So just kind of a basic DSLR camera. And I'm like, I don't even really know how to use this thing. So what I did to start out is I got on Pinterest and the internet, and just to kind of understand the basic, what does this button do? How do I get a blurry background? How do I get from here to here? And that's kind of the basic of where I started. And I took pictures, and I had a really good family friend, and I'm like, hey, can I practice on you guys? And they were so good at letting me go and take their family pictures. And they didn't turn out the best, but it gave me practice. I got out and I learned how just by doing some research. When my kids went to bed, I took like an hour before me and my husband did anything to research. Okay, what does the aperture mean? What does that, what's the very basic of this button? How do I get a blurry background? And then I picked up my camera right after I researched all that and started taking pictures. And I asked people, and I took lots of pictures of my kids just while they were out playing. And I had my camera with me all the time. And it's big and bulky, but you get better by just getting out there and taking the most random pictures. They could be playing in the grass, but just get your camera out and lay down and just take them playing. And that's how I kind of started.
Exactly. And I think that's great advice too, Courtney, that you have to make time for yourself. You bring out the bulky camera, you take pictures of them. Maybe, you don't set them up in poses and, fancy dresses, but you just take pictures of what's going on in your life. And I know you guys are busy. I know that, there's a lot going on when you have 1 kid, let alone 5 or 4 like me. But, when you just have 1 kid, there's a lot going on. And so maybe don't set it up into, this big photo shoot, but just take advantage of what's going on in your life and shoot and practice. Now, Courtney, you said something else to me that kind of stuck out. It was just kind of a blur, but it stuck out to me. And I think this is something when you're first starting to work on other people and practice on other people, you said something about like, make sure to practice on people who understand that you're beginning, right? That you're new, that you just had the camera. So I don't know if a lot of people think that, but like, why did you say that? Like, why do you think that's important?
Because I said that because I feel pressure sometimes when I'm taking pictures of these families. I feel like some families, or I've done some weddings, and I feel like I have to get the perfect shot, the perfect picture. And then it doesn't turn out perfect because of the pressure. And so if you can tell people, okay, I'm just learning, really good friends that understand that you're just starting, really good friends, and your family, I think are those 2 are the very best people to start out with, because they know and they understand if you're going to take a bit longer to get your settings right, to experiment with your settings on your camera and experiment with posing. If you get a family that expects you to have it all perfect, then you're not going to take the best pictures because you are under so much pressure. And I just thought, I'm going to put that out there because it taking pictures, you can feel a lot of pressure. And when you have that pressure, that's when the pictures don't turn out. It's when you are having fun and taking pictures of people that are having fun with you. That's when you have the best shots.
Exactly. And I so love that you said that, Courtney, because I think a lot of people in the beginning, and I know not a lot of you, I know some of you are not thinking that far ahead yet where you want to practice on other people or take on clients. But if you are thinking that, a lot of times we think that we can't tell people we're beginners. We want to put on this act or this show that we know what we're doing, and like the confidence will just be there if we act like we are this professional photographer that's been at it forever. But that does, you're right, it puts so much pressure on you, and it completely takes it off if you're just honest with people and you're like, hey, I'm just starting. I like to do this. I'm pretty good at it. Will you help me out? And I think people appreciate that honesty too. And I think they have a lot more fun with it. So I absolutely love that you said that, you threw that out there. And I want to make sure you guys hear that nice and loud and clear too, that once you start practicing on other people, just let them know you're a beginner. You don't have to put on this act like you've been at it for a while with this expectation that you're going to, produce these pictures that someone that's been at it for 20 years would produce. So that was awesome. Courtney, you just going on that we're not all perfect, we're not perfectionists, and we don't take these great pictures. I want you to, if you're comfortable, kind of go through maybe one or two of the mistakes that you made along the way that might help someone that's just starting out right now so they don't make that mistake.
Slow down. I think that is my biggest, still to this day, I still go too fast. And if I slow down and I make sure my focus point is on the right place, then my pictures turn out 100 times better if you slow down. And I think that we all get into this mode of, oh, let's hurry and get this pose and this pose and this pose. And then I want to get that shot and this shot and this shot. If it takes longer than an hour to get the shots that you want and to get the focus that you want, then it's going to take longer than an hour. And that's another reason why I say, let people know that you're beginning. Because if you take your time and you explain to people, and if you take your time to tell people, okay, I'm going to be kind of sort of experimenting, so I take my time so your pictures turn out the way you want them. That's still my biggest thing, is I still tend to go a little bit faster than I need to be.
Hey, I do that too. And I think a lot of people do that. I think, and I talk about that a lot. I've talked about that a lot on the show. I talk a lot about that with my students, is that just, slowing things down, because I think the strategy a lot of people have is just take as many pictures as you can really quick and then hope that one of them turns out, hope like, okay, did I get lucky on that one? And that's not really the way to get better. And so I'm glad hearing it from, you guys don't just hear it from me, you're hearing it from somebody else too, slow down, take your time, get the focus right. Now, talking about focus, I want to kind of bring it around a little bit, because a couple months ago, you posted inside of our community, you posted this picture that I think very seasoned photographers would have a very difficult time taking. This picture that you showed, and you guys, this picture she shared in the group, and I'm going to share it in the show notes for you guys too, so you can see, I don't know, what was there, like 30, 40, 50 people in this picture?
37.
Okay.
Yes.
Little kids, older kids. I mean, they were all age kids. And it was like beautiful black backlit, gorgeous large group shot. And they were just like beautifully in focus. And so for someone that was newer to photography and newer to my program, like Courtney was, I looked at this and I'm like, oh my, amazing. So you've got to help people out who take pictures of people that are large groups. Like, how do you get that focus? Like, what are your tips? What are your tricks for getting focused with larger groups?
Well, from your Shoot It Sensational, I've learned to do the front middle. Mm-hmm. And put it on center focus because the focus moves back.
Yep.
So actually, to be honest, it wasn't in focus. I had to go into Lightroom because I was rushed. Mm. I was under lots of pressure. And so I had to go in and fix that focus because it wasn't there. And if I had slowed down a little bit, then it would have been in focus. But it turned out good. I was able to fix it, but to go along with what you taught, this was before I had done your program. Mm-hmm. And so I had learned to do the front center focus. And so I tried, and it didn't turn out the way that I wanted it, but I was able to fix it. And then it was beautiful, and it's a big canvas hanging up, and it looks great.
So. It does look great. It looks gorgeous. It looks gorgeous. So actually my biggest takeaway from that, it wasn't necessarily the tip that I thought you would be sharing with everyone, but the biggest takeaway from that is that, you know what, you learned. You did it. It wasn't quite as in focus as you wanted, but you were okay with that. You learned how to make it better. You learned that you needed to slow it down a little bit. So the next time it would be better and better. And you guys, that's all part of the photography journey. It's about just trying things, taking chances, not always trying to be perfect with everything that you do, and then learning from your mistakes, learning from something maybe you did incorrect or you wish you would have done different before, and then making it right the next time. So I'm going to make sure that I share that one in the show notes for everybody to see. And I will put a link to the show notes at the end of the show today too, so you guys can check that out. Courtney, if people want to see more of your work, where do you hang out on social media most often? Where can they see your page and follow you and like all your pictures?
Yes, I'm on Instagram, mm-hmm. and I'm pretty sure it's just Courtney Kemp Photography. And then same thing on Facebook, Courtney Kemp Photography. So I just kind of made it simple. I was trying to get some fun, cute name, and I'm like, I'll just do my name.
You've got a nice, easy name to say and pronounce. So that's perfect. And you guys, I'm going to link up to both of her social media profiles in the show notes too. So after the show, you can click over to the show notes, click her page, give her a follow, give her a like all of her pictures because they are amazing. And, Courtney, I really appreciate you sharing your knowledge, sharing what you've learned on your photography journey. Is there anything else that you would like to share to, moms out there that are just starting with their camera that maybe we didn't touch on today?
I just pick up your camera. Just if you're at home, there's 10 minutes here, there's 10 minutes there. Pick up the camera, and if you have a new baby or if you're a new mom, take a picture while they're sleeping, or mm-hmm. take pictures while they're playing on the floor, on the ground, playing with friends. And if you haven't signed up for a photography course, I recommend Emily's because she is very easy to understand, very easy to follow and practice. She has these weekly challenges, and if you don't want to spend the money, or if you don't have time to do those, then get on Pinterest. That's how I learned. It's just, how do I do this really quick? Or how do I do that? And then pick up your camera and play with it, play with the settings. So that's kind of how I started. So yeah.
I love it. So get out there, you guys, do it. No excuses about time. This is coming from a mom of 5. No excuses at all. Just get your camera. You know it's important to you. You probably have already bought one. That's why you're listening today. But just get out there and practice and have fun with it. And again, Courtney, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate your time and all that you have to share with everybody.
Thank you.
I so appreciated having Courtney join us today. I appreciated her realness, and I hope that that provided you some value so you don't make some of the same mistakes she made. And I've got to be totally honest, I've made these mistakes too. We all make mistakes. It's just part of the photography journey. It's part of getting better. It's part of growing with your photography skills. If you would like to see Courtney's work, come check out the show notes. You can head over to cozyclicks.com, hit the podcast button, and you will see the show notes from today's episode and all of the past episodes as well. I will be back again next week with a brand new episode. We have all kinds of new guests for season 3. Plus, remember the all new video format of the show too. I so appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for listening. And until next time, here's to stay in focus, in camera, and with your goals. Bye, you guys.